Hello and welcome back to the Level Cap Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Level 99 games related, Skullgirls or otherwise.
Oh yeah, so we're talking about Skullgirls this week.
Yes, and it's
Speaking of shop, yes, the Skullgirls Gotcha app. We're talking about gotchas again. I think maybe we have an addiction. Maybe we have addictive personalities because we're talking about gotchas again, like second week in a row.
Hey, to be fair, if I had my way, we would be talking about anime fidget spinner battle.
Yeah, apparently that has made somebody a millionaire already.
And how you wish you had thought of the idea. See, if only you
No,
were in tune with our world's youth.
I don't desire these filthy riches. I'm above that.
Dirty money, never clean,
Yeah.
never clean. I just imagine you if you ever make a fidget spinner game and it ends up making you a lot of money, Brad. I just can't imagine how many baths you have to take to feel clean again.
I don't know. I mean, what would I do with that much money anyway? I guess I'd sit around at home all day and make board games. Well, spoiler alert, that's what I do anyway.
Oh, snap.
So, there's not really having a lot of money doesn't hold a lot of appeal for me.
I see. But what if with all of that money you can just buy IPs whenever you want, so you can make your Blaze Blue game or
Yeah, it's not, but it's not even like that, right? Even if you've got a ton of money, they're not going to just give you an IP unless you're proven. So it's something you got to work for, even if you are rich.
That's true. But what if you have $10 billion?
Well, I guess you just make your own better IP, like Disney style. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So let's move on to our game of the week this week before we degenerate into talking about fidget spinners. Brad, can you tell us on this fidget spinner cast what our Game Club game of this week is? Spoiler, we already told you.
Yeah. So we were talking about Skullgirls Mobile this week, which is a game that I've sunk a bit of time into, and apparently Marco's picked up as well. I mentioned it back when we talked about Final Fantasy Brave Exvius
and fidget spinner anime battle.
Yeah, and that other one as being a gacha game that I was enjoying. That was a little more than just pure stats. The gacha mechanic in Skullgirls Mobile is not as good as those games, just because there's not a lot of content for you to get.
Mm-hmm.
But the gameplay, the way that you use all this stuff, is pretty cool, and it's a lot different because you use it in a fighting game, and unlike other fighting gacha style games like Injustice 2, the Skullgirls Mobile kind of really does feel like a fighting game. It feels smooth. Your characters respond, they move, they have a bunch of different skills. I think what I really like about this game is how well they translated the idea of a smooth 2D fighter to the phone.
Yeah, the control scheme's pretty good for what it's worth.
Yeah, and you you kind of build yourself a skill bar of special moves. So you have your normals by tapping, and you can do sweeps and launchers and blocks and throws and throw escapes, and then you can start mixing in special moves to those combos, and you can actually build combos with your character, and it's really cool.
Yeah, when you say build combos, it means literally build, because your character doesn't have access to special moves unless you equip them. So your combo potential is directly tied to which special moves you decide to put into your bar. So that was always pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, and a lot of the fun of the game is discovering these custom combos, because they don't really tell you when and how you can use each thing. So knowing what picks up into what else, and how you can, when you can throw in a super to interrupt your opponent and all that. Real fighting game stuff comes out in this game.
Yeah.
It's not just a button mash until I get level 99 type of thing.
You mean the level cap? Mm-hmm. Name drop and podcast.
Yeah.
And podcast. I think one of my favorite things about this game too is so it's basically a simplified version of the original Skullgirls game that you'll find on consoles or PC, right? And one thing about it is that they basically gave characters unique abilities, like in
Well,
Battlefront
they're
or
pretty
Exceed.
they're pretty yeah, they're pretty minor, but they have some kind of special power for each character.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool because it basically augments the character's playstyle or teaches you how to play that character. Because for example, Big Band gets armor when you do his dash attack, and I think that's the only thing that has that's the only normal move with armor in the game. So
Hmm.
it
So yeah,
teaches.
getting armor on demand is really big, and it kind of informs your whole decision,
Yeah,
or a lot of your decisions. And then each of the costumes for each character has a second special, or a second and third special ability that you can unlock, by leveling them up more.
yep,
And those are where the more individual strategies come out for each character.
yeah. So I find it pretty fun, pretty interesting, and they're not all like um they're not all like the ones you'll find in the original game. So it is a gacha game, so they added some other mechanics on top, right? So for
Hmm.
example, Philia's ability is that she can inflict bleed on opponents at a certain percent chance. And it's pretty good on Philia because a lot of Philia's moves are multi-hit, so that's pretty good. Who else do I have? I have
Like Peacock can jump underground, which allows her to dodge anything and then pop up, right next to your opponent, which means you can hit a lot of your moves on that surprise wake up.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, Eliza can do her, her skeleton comes out type of character,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
little sub character that she controls, and then who
What
else?
does Valentine do?
Like Valentine does true damage. Like she does no chip damage, and she does no recoverable health, except that regeneration abilities just give you life anyway. So it's not that good of a power.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Um,
Especially since
I
like
mean,
a lot of characters have access to it. Like Big Band has like what 3 variations that can regen on demand.
yeah. So
S-
the game's not perfect. I think the probably the top tier character is Peacock, which
Peacock.
there's a version of Peacock which just says at top level you have a 25% chance to take 0 damage from anything, and whenever this procs, you also get like super armor for 5 seconds.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. It also doesn't make much sense with Peacock because she's like a ranger, and you don't really want to get in a lot of times. But it works because she has that completely OP bomb move, which does like twice as much damage as other supers in the game.
It's not even a super,
Um,
Brad. It's a
yeah, I know
special.
it's actually broken. It's actually broken, but it's been carrying me through story mode, so I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, like,
The game is pure PVE, so you don't really have to. If something's broken, it's not anybody's problem specifically.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
there's pseudo PvP. You can fight ghosts of people. I think, right?
you fight their team, but their
Oh,
team
not
is
ghosts.
AI controlled. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I thought they were ghosts. Okay.
Well, if they were ghosts, then all you'd have to do is like step back, and the ghost would still be on the other side of the screen, and you would be not, not in its range.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So yes, there are AI copies of other players' teams. Um,
Okay, so no wonder they're all gullible.
yeah, they do fight a little different than the regular AIs, which is nice.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like some of them like have AI that's built to be like they do a specific thing. So like you can read the AI. That's pretty fun. Like
Yeah.
there's a Valentine AI wherein whenever you're downed, they will always try to grab you when you wake up. Always.
Mhm.
100% of the time. So it's fun. Like
Hmm.
that little thing that you realize that oh this AI just grabs repeatedly. You can use that information and inform how you'll fight that AI. So whenever I notice that AI, that Valentine who always just grabs whenever, I just switch to Sarabella, who gets like when she techs a throw, she stuns people for like a second or something.
Oh, that's pretty neat. I did not realize that that some of them were like that, but I had noticed patterns.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It's yeah. So the thing is, like, they do have patterns, but it's like they make specific like personalities for specific AIs. So it's pretty fun. Because not all Valentines play the same. Not all
Hmm.
variations of the same character play the same. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty interesting. I think one of the biggest things about this game that makes me like it is, here's the thing, Brad. Gacha games. they're usually not quality games. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, like this is an unusual level of polish for this style of game, and that's very refreshing.
Yeah, exactly. And it might not be perfect, but the soundtrack is great. The art and the animation is great. Of course, it's Skullgirls Zero
It's
Lab games.
Skullgirls, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The characters, the voice acting, it's all great. And like, it's just really refreshing. I just wish there were more characters. I wish I could be Beowulf. I wish I could, you know.
Well, they are planning to add some, so
Oh, okay, great. Because I want to
it's
be Beowulf.
the roster should expand slowly. But yeah, it's really cool. I just wish they had more than 6 versions of each character. Like, I'd really like to see some of the some more stuff, because they've got like 15, 16 palettes for each of these guys.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they do.
yeah.
So,
Uh,
Brad, would you recommend people to play Skullgirls
yeah, I would
Mobile?
recommend it. I wouldn't recommend that you spend too much money on it, but tip the developers $5 and get some good starting characters.
Yeah, hey, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good idea.
that's what I do. I don't sink a lot of money into these, but when I find one and I like it, I like to throw in $5-10 just to say thanks for making a cool game.
Yeah, you guys are pretty cool. I should buy like gems so that I can, tell the developers they're doing an awesome job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a question of of how much you enjoy it and how much I guess really what what your means are. Like, I wouldn't recommend somebody in college or like do that, but because I have $10 that I can spend when I want, so I do it. And
Oh,
but I guess that's part of the fun of these games, is that you can get as involved as you want. But
yeah,
like with any gotcha game, you're not ever going to get your money out of it, and because it's non-physical, you're not even going to have a collectible at the end. So any money you spend on it is effectively just a tip in the tip jar.
which is fine because technically,
Yeah.
most of these gotcha games give you like what the equivalent of like 10, 20 hours of like gameplay at some point. So it's like, $10
Yeah.
for 10 hours of gameplay. It doesn't sound that bad.
I guess what I'm going to say is I'm not recommending that anybody spend money on this game, but I'm telling you that I do on occasion spend money on these kind of games.
Because you just want to tell
But
the developers that they're
yeah,
cool.
but you need to make that decision for yourself and not do it because I do it.
PSA. This is your Level Cap Podcast PSA. Don't spend money if you can't afford it. All right. Can you make like okay, future
I don't know
Marco?
exactly what I was saying there, but okay.
Yeah, I know. Future Marco, add like the GI Joe thing at the end of that. It sounds better.
G.I. Joe!
Yeah, it sounds like I'm like maybe you should save your money, Marco. But I mean that's not specifically what I meant to be saying. It just kind of came out that way.
I see. Well, don't worry about it. I mean, I'll spend it if I can afford it.
Yeah, right. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, I know. I'm a consenting adult, right?
Yeah.
Hey, to be fair, Brad. Okay, just in case anybody in the audience is worried, I do not spend my days eating instant cup ramen. Okay, I eat real food. I am not a broken college student, mostly because of
but
Brad.
you are in the midst of your job search right now, right?
Job search. Don't. Yeah, I really hope
Okay.
that I can be a samurai.
Sorry to dredge up. Dredge up negative memories.
Yeah, I really want to be a samurai. It's hard. I might end up being a swordsman instead, but that's not
Yeah.
ideal. Not ideal. All right. Let's move on to our next segment, Brad. Our character of the week. So Skullgirls is a pretty interesting game. It's there are skulls
and
and
on
girls.
the speaking of Skullgirls, our character of the week is Larimore Burman, who's not at all related to any of that.
I was trying to find a segue.
Yeah, there's no segue. There's no segue.
Larimore Burman is not a skull, nor is he a girl.
Yeah. So Larimore Burman is he's a lot of things. This is a character that has a lot of dimensions. He is one of so he's from World of Indians, from BattleCon. He's playable in BattleCon Fate, but he was first playable as a boss in Devastation. where he would encounter the players and fight against them.
Mm-hmm.
Then later playable as a candidate in Argent the Consortium, where he leads the Department of Sorcery, which is his actual day job. So Burman is this giant red dragon, super powerful. He's the world's most capable sorcerer. He's really adept at war magic, which is blowing things up, not just on a local level, but like on a city-sized
So
scale.
it's like nuke levels of destruction.
He's kind of like the magical equivalent of a nuclear technician, I guess.
Oh man. Except he's
Except
the bomb.
that he can also shoot mini nukes from his fingertips.
Okay, so he's the bomb.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh man.
Anyway, he's a cool guy. He's nice. He has worked for thousands of years to make sure that these secrets of magic don't fall into the wrong hands. So very few people are able to study directly with him. His most famous pupil is Kalistar, who's another character that's playable in BattleCon War.
Mm-hmm.
So she is his graduate student of war magic. Aside from all that, Larimor is one of the few dragons that was left after the Great Dragon Wars 1,000 years ago, where they were all wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the very few that lives openly. So they all have a human form. Most of them are in hiding, or somehow have managed to stay away from humans so as to survive, because it's totally legal to just grab a mob and kill dragons whenever you see them in Indians.
Because dragons are kind of,
they're considered enemies of humanity by the gods, and so if you see one, you could just kill him, and there's no repercussions at all. Not that that's easy. They're like super super powerful, and they turn into actual giant dragons, and then they step on you.
Yeah. I think the audience should know that the power level of dragons in Indians is like way beyond like what a regular dragon is in regular fantasy settings. Because I think in Indians, dragons are nearly godlike beings, right? Like they're not just
they actually are godlike beings. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically every dragon is Bahamut. In essence, every dragon is basically Bahamut power levels. There's no mob or jobber dragons. They're none of those. They're just like all like that.
Well, there are little ones, they're baby dragons, but they're not very many anymore because most of them were wiped out. But it is the way that divine power works in Indians. Kind of as there have been fewer, the ones that remain have gotten more powerful.
Oh, so it's like it's like a Green Lantern battery. It's like divided.
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Sort of. Because as it's concentrated in fewer and fewer members of that species, they get stronger and stronger.
Okay. So Burman's why is Burman able to live openly as a dragon?
Because he lives under the protection of Argent University, and so so being being a professor at this university, having sworn an oath of that he's not gonna hurt anybody or eat anybody or whatever, he gets by. He gets by, and there are still a lot of people, especially religious people, that don't like Burman.
Templars,
but
and
yeah, exactly. Like the first time Eligor meets him, Eligor is like, "Well, I guess we got to kill you now," and Burman's like, "Well, don't throw your life away too carelessly. You can always come back and do that later." When after you complete more important adventures. And
then I can kill you.
And so so he agrees to come back and kill Burman at a later date,
which he probably never will, because
Yeah. Though that's that's the kind of the way that his story goes.
So I have a question. There's lore behind him being a boss in Devastation, right? And it's something along the lines of his connection with Agena, the Dragon Queen. So
Yeah. I mean, they know each other because she's kind of the other dragon that still lives, openly. Mainly because she's in this giant tower and nobody can go and stop her.
because
She's
she'll
just
kill
too
them.
dangerous.
She'll kill them if they
Yeah.
come near.
Yeah, so she's just good enough to not get killed for 1,000 years. And so Burman used to work for the Dragon Empire for Agena, but when the war started, he kind of renounced all that and became neutral. And so that's another reason that he was kind of allowed to continue on as part of civilization, is that he was not part of that war.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was, I guess, conscientious objector, and that sort of thing. Um, so,
So what makes him fight our heroes in Devastation? Like what?
he fights them to test them in order to make sure that they're ready to defeat the greater evils ahead. And that's what Agena says. It's like, well, I know you can't fight them, but maybe you could test them to see if they're ready. And if they fail, then you get to kill them, like old times. And
Like old
he's
times.
like, hey, fine, whatever, for old times. And
I see.
and that's it's pretty thin. It's pretty paper thin. Boss fights, because I've always maintained that fighting games kind of have silly stories, and so I try not to make the story in Indians too serious for that reason.
I see. I mean, Belt of Beatdowns. We have magical skull
Yeah,
people. I mean,
I think the characters have to have a certain amount of levity in
yeah.
order to make the world make sense.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like I guess like even if you take the most serious characters in your game, like Byron, for example, who's this like conniving mastermind. It's like the running gag is that he never takes power ever, no matter how well his plan goes. So
Yeah, Byron's blasting off again.
somebody
Like
make that
that,
gif.
yeah.
Somebody make that gif. It has
Yeah.
to be made. So what's your idea behind the gameplay for Burman in Fate, not Devastation? We don't want to talk about the boss
Oh yeah,
fight.
so in BattleCon Fate, we wanted to get a character that was sort of reminiscent of our other two dragon characters, Marmalee and Agena. And so what those two kind of have in common is a build-up mechanic, and especially in Marmalee's case, they have a lot of effects that are very safe options. So like when you play one of these characters and you're at a certain power level, you have safe option selects that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say, I'll play this move, and then if I know that the time is right, I can commit my power to it. So using your power is safe. It's building your power that's unsafe. And with Marmalee, that's because if she gets hit, she loses it all. With Agena, it's because she has to walk up to you and kind of look you in the face in order to get points. And for Burman, it's because he has to tank his speed. He has to take a big penalty to speed in order to store up power, and that means that he may end up getting hit in the face. Yeah, because of his because he charged up at this moment.
Yeah, he's too busy Dragon Ball charging, and then he just eats and attacks.
Yeah, basically, and that's the idea behind all these three characters that have kind of a similar playstyle, is that using power is safe, but acquiring power is unsafe.
Oh, do we have a fancy term for that, like we have with show tokens?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know if there's any really good fancy term for that.
Let's workshop it outside of the podcast.
Okay, yeah. If you have an idea for this term, then
tell us in the comment section down below.
Yeah, leave us in the comment.
Yeah.
Character that powers up unsafely, but once they have their ability, they can use it pretty much free ride whenever they want,
safely,
with complete safety and certainty.
Oh, and most likely a dragon, right?
Yeah, this is a common thread for all of the dragon characters. So for the different races and needs, we do try and get a like a thread running through them. So like oh, characters that are that are this race have this style of play. And it's also true for their type of magic. Like characters that have this type of magic have this type of play. So for example, Burman uses sorcery. That's why he feels a little bit also like Kalistar and Eric, who also use the same kind of magic.
Oh, and Byron, I guess.
Byron uses actually the same sort of magic as Lysandra, mysticism.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you play Argent, you can learn about all these exciting schools of magic and master them for yourself.
Yeah, and possibly become president or dean.
Chancellor.
Chancellor. Sorry.
Yeah, dean's for a specific school, and the chancellor's for the whole university.
Oh, so it's like being Dumbledore, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not. I mean, Dumbledore's a headmaster, which is for like a more of a school type place. So university has colleges, and then within the college, and then all the colleges have their deans, and they kind of run themselves. So the chancellor is the person who is above the independent colleges within the university.
Okay.
So it's a little the structure's a little different, but it's basically just a scaling issue.
All right. So basically, you become Super Dumbledore.
Yeah. Like Hogwarts is one building. Argent's supposed to be about the size of a small city.
Oh, okay. So, I didn't know this. So Argent's the size of a small city. Wow.
Yeah, like universities are usually pretty large. Like like colleges, you have a couple buildings, but a university, you have a couple colleges.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, have you ever seen like Oxford or places like that?
Yeah,
where
I
there's,
went
like,
to a
30
university.
colleges in one town. Okay, so you've seen all these before.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that I never thought of it that way because my university was that big. You have to understand, third world countries don't necessarily have a lot of land.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of colleges call themselves universities when they're just a single college.
Oh, I'm sure mine isn't because we have 4 colleges.
Oh, okay then. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so one last thing before we move on from our character of the week. Give us something personal about Burman, like something that is personal to him. Like, does he like his favorite color is pink or something like that?
So the thing I guess I would say is like a distinctive feature for Burman is his weapon. And this is a weapon called a war torch that is unique to Indians. At least I think it's unique to Indians, but it's a staff, like a wizard staff about the height of a person,
Mm-hmm.
with a big flame on the top. So it's an actual torch that's powered by magic, and it has 2 axe heads on it. So it's sort of a staff battle axe torch. Burman can use it. So if you're a sorcerer and you can control energy with your magic, you can turn it into a flamethrower, which is kind of how he attacks in a lot of moments.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's a pretty cool weapon. I haven't seen it appear in other fantasy yet. So,
Trademark
so that's
that.
one of my things. Yeah, that's one of the things I guess I'm proud of with Burman is the creation of this unique original weapon.
Yeah, I've always wondered what that was. I thought it was just like a giant club.
Yeah, it's called a war torch.
A war torch. And that makes sense because he's a war mage. Hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Oh, okay. Sorry. What's his talent? Like, what's his quirk?
His unique talent. So I haven't actually thought about that because he doesn't use enough low magic that it would ever really come up.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like people have a lot of like little weird talents, but if you're like on that power level, it's not going to
manifest a lot.
You just wouldn't care, right? Like it's
okay.
Yeah, and I think maybe also as a divine creature, Burman may not, because of the way that he's connected to the magic of the world differently than other races.
All right.
So I think I want to make that my final answer is
right.
that as a dragon, creatures like dragons and elementals are connected to the magic of the world in a different way than humans are. and so they don't get those same kinds of powers.
All right. But the other races are free game.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Elves, humans, but yeah, people that are like directly nature spirits, dryads, elementals, dragons, they don't have that kind of connection.
Okay, so they don't get their cutesy little powers. All right, so
Yeah.
that pretty much does it for our character of the week segment. I hope you guys learned a lot about Indian's lore and a lot about Larimore Burman and his awesome war torch. I want to make, you know what? I'm gonna pay someone to make me a cosplay prop of a war torch. That would be awesome.
Could be fun.
That would be
You
awesome.
got to bring it to Gen Con with us.
All right, and possibly get arrested. Who knows? Hey.
No, as long as it's made of like soft foam, you'll be okay.
Okay, that's true. So let's move on to our 99 questions segment, where we will answer questions from the wall that I have picked up and straightened out for international podcast listening.
Now I've got this vision of like 99 questions on the wall.
Yeah.
I don't think I could carry a tune to that, but
99 questions of level 99 games on the wall. 99 questions on the wall. You take.
Yeah, that was exactly as painful as I imagined it would be, and thus didn't do it. Check your filter, Marco. Check your filter.
Okay. I can edit it out. I have that power. Remember, don't forget.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I think that's our quote. Check your filter.
Check your filter. Okay. Question number 1. Any plans for hosting your own convention? Imagine the BattleCon World Championships at BattleCon Con.
Well, first of all, BattleCon sounds like I don't know. It sounds like a can. Sounds like a kind of dance.
Sounds great. I love it. The battle
we have thought about this. And I know a lot of smaller companies have expos and stuff that they do. The short answer is just that we spend all our money printing games for you guys, and so we don't have any left to do crazy conventions, even locally. And so like a small local convention might cost us $10,000 to put on. But that's money that we could use to print 2 new games, or to bring on a new artist and do a bunch of cool new promotional arts, or even like illustrate a major game like 7th Cross or Imperial. So it just doesn't make sense as an expense for a company that, because our fans are kind of all over the world, and we're not in a really big city, it doesn't make sense for us to host a convention just for ourselves, because the kind of people that would actually want to attend are probably not willing to come to Albuquerque.
Like me.
Yeah, willing or able. I'm sure you'd be willing to come, but but may not be able to come to Albuquerque, because we're not really a major hub or anything.
And it's kind of expensive if you live halfway across the globe.
Yeah.
All right. So that's your answer. And I guess that makes sense.
I'm also not super great at entertaining people in person, so I'd have to hire a convention manager to put on all the events and stuff.
Wouldn't it just be easy?
How many events could we really do with just our games?
That's true. Put on some swords and sandals and just kill a man and go, "Are you not entertained?" And I think that would entertain a few people quite a bit.
Well, I was thinking maybe we get out the foam swords and play some mock fighting.
Oh, that's true. Okay,
Yeah.
Scratch my idea. I think my idea is illegal.
Yeah, I think your idea is illegal, and also a bit of a mess.
Yeah, a bit. I think that's a supreme understatement. All right.
Next question.
I've seen a few BattleCon cosplay pictures, but has anyone ever cosplayed Brad?
I am always cosplaying myself. Let me be the first to say I don't actually dress like that all the time.
What? Wait.
That is
my worldview.
That is a costume. That's a costume that I wear for videos and for conventions, so that when people see me, they can say, "Oh, it's Brad." So in some respect, I guess I'm a character of my own making.
Who's the
I think
real
it's good
Brad?
to have. Well, the real Brad is the guy talking to you on the podcast now. But it's good to have a look so that you can be picked out of a crowd, and this is especially true in business, because that being able to be picked out by people who are looking for you is it's just a good idea.
Yeah.
So that's why I put together that costume, which is kind of, I guess, what I imagine I would wear if I got dressed up every day, but I don't actually get dressed up every day.
So you want to be Indiana Jones basically every day.
I wish I was Indiana Jones, but without all the danger.
What's the point?
Huh?
What's the point of being Indiana Jones without any of the danger?
You get to tell all the stories afterwards.
Oh, that's true. Okay, you got me beat. If anybody's asking how to make a Marco cosplay, it's easy. Just wear jacket and jeans. That's the best cosplay.
Hey, spoiler alert, nobody's asking.
Oh, dang. Oh, I can edit that out. Check your filter, Brad.
Burn!
Everybody who thinks I got burned so bad, please write in the comments section down below. Let's let the audience decide whether or not that was actually burned, Brad. Let's let them decide.
It wasn't just a burn, that was a sick burn.
Ah, dang. Apply cold water here. Burn heal, please. Okay, last one. Last question, Brad. Last question. Oh gosh, my feelings are so hurt. My jimmies are so rustled.
So burn successful.
Ah, gosh. All right. What is the average print run size for one of your smaller games? And how does that compare to the print runs of your Kickstarter projects?
So for a smaller game, we would do usually about 3,000 copies, sometimes 2,000 copies. And then for a Kickstarter game, we do anywhere from 5 to 10. Usually,
so almost
the
like
largest print run we ever did was Pixel Tactics Deluxe. We did 10,000 of Deluxe, 10,000 of 1, 2, and 3. 10,000 of 1, 4, and 5, and then 5,000 of 2 and 3. And so we printed 50,000 units at that time.
Oh, wow.
And that was the largest print run we've ever done. But Pixel Tactics is such a small game that it didn't cost as much as a 5,000 print run of Millennium Blades.
Okay, that's true.
So the largest dollar-wise print run we've ever done was Argent, actually.
Oh, is it because of the components?
Yeah, because of the miniature components and the casting. So the tooling costs to do the setup for Argent costs more than printing like 30,000 copies of Pixel Tactics.
Oh gosh, what?
Yeah, it's just when you work with miniatures, it's expensive. That said, you have to sell like 8 copies of Pixel Tactics to make as much money as you do selling 1 copy of Argent. So it kind of balances out in that way that 30,000 copies of Pixel Tactics is really only about like 3,000 copies of Argent. But anyway, but yeah, Argent is the most expensive game that we've ever produced, and you can see that too in the Kickstarter, which is up right now. The Argent Kickstarter is going to be up as you're listening to this.
The reprint.
And yeah, for the reprint. But our base goal is $100,000, and that's because it actually costs that much to print the game and do the setup, the miniature sculpting. We have to resculpt the miniatures because we changed our format this time to be that base and ring structure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the miniatures have a circular base, and they have a little ring that snaps onto the bottom. That shows you who actually is in control of each of these minis.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So it's kind of like a hero clickers, like the Marvel thing? Is it like that?
A little bit like that, but they're removable, of course.
Okay, that makes sense. All right,
yeah.
And that pretty much does it for a 99 question segment. And I promise I won't sing anymore, okay? I promise. Brad, as we're closing in on this wonderful, wonderful podcast that I've enjoyed recording with you, let's all remember the good times we've had, the burns and the checking filters, as we talk about the hot baked news that will be delivered straight into our mouth holes. Brad, please tell us.
Wait, what? You're listening to news through your mouth?
Because
Marco,
hot baked, it's like bread, right?
Yeah. Every analogy breaks down when you take it far enough, but your analogies break down before they even get out of the garage. I'm sorry.
It's an old jalopy. She still works, Brad. She just needs some duct tape.
She never worked. It's time to get a modern analogy, Marco.
Okay. I'll go to the shop and buy a new one. So Brad,
Yeah.
just tell us some of the news that you have prepared for us.
So the news is Argent the Consortium reprint is live. If you didn't catch that from our last question, you can now get a copy of this fabulous game, updated, revised, with new and improved miniatures, and that is up on Kickstarter now. The game has a really big goal, so we do need every bit of help. So I hope that if you have even been considering Argent, that you will join in and participate and check it out. Aside from that, other news. BattleCon Trials is on the water. It should be arriving in the next, I want to say about 2 weeks from now, based on what our freight forwarder has told us. So that's going to be in the near future, and Sellswords Olympus is going to be shipping out right now. So you can get Sellswords Olympus in our shop. It's in stores in the next 2 to 3 weeks. It'll be in retailers all over the world, and it could be yours. Let's see, anything else? Millennium Blades print run number 3 is in stock as well. So if you've been missing out on Millennium Blades, check your favorite online retailer, see if you can get it there. Promo Pack 6, Pixel Tactics Online, BattleCon Online, BattleCon Trials will all be at Gen Con with us this year.
Nice.
So you can come by, you can try the demos for those digital games, you can get a copy of Millennium Blades Pack 6, you can get a copy of BattleCon Trials. So all that will be available.
And don't forget, we're about to start the new season of Organized Play.
Yes.
So
Yes, that should be starting up. Probably it will have already started up by the time you're listening to this podcast. So there's plenty of time to get involved. Just visit the Organized Play page at level99games.com, and you will have all the information you need to get started hosting and playing in special events and winning fabulous prizes.
Yes, like promos for Pixel Tactics, BattleCon, and of course, Exceed. So that pretty much does it for that segment. So Brad, tell me, what would you rate our episode today out of 10?
Out of 10, what? Well, I don't know. I think the important thing when you're producing anything is to just treat it, as it's complete. There's nothing that we could have done differently, right? Like we were fated that this would be the episode by the interaction of my persona and your persona and the technical difficulties we had setting up sound and the tone of the company, of our projects, of our of really everything. Like this was the only possible episode that we could have had.
So
no
better,
so I
no
think
worse.
It simply is.
I see. So take it. Just take it, listener. Take it. You have been blessed with this gift that we have made.
Yeah.
So Brad gives it
Namaste.
You give it a 10?
I know it just is.
It just is.
It just is.
So Brad rates it is out of 10. I too rate it is out of 10. And that pretty much does it for this episode of the Level Cap Podcast, everyone. As usual, it's been me, your host, Marco De Santos, also known as the Mechanic Critic. And with me is my very co-host.
Hey, Brad Salt.
All right.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.